Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with What Are You Listening to Lately? Which means, what am I listening to lately? My nose is turning red from dust and allergies. It's killing me. So please bear with me. You know, one of the side effects, let's say, of being a critic is that I spend so much time listening to things I need to listen to so that I can talk to you about them or write about them or whatever, is that I seldom get the chance to listen to the music I want to listen to. For me, the reason I collected all this junk in the first place. So every so often, I just need to take a step back and enjoy myself. And I know that none of you begrudge me that, because that's why we're all here. And nothing gives me more joy than this. This is the Bartók Sonata for two pianos and percussion, and Ravel Mother Goose Suite and Rapsodie espagnole arranged for two pianos and percussion by Peter Sadlo and his colleague Edgar Guggeis, and the pianists are Martha Argerich and Nelson Freire. Oh my goodness, this is hot beyond all belief. I think it's one of the greatest records ever, and I never get tired of listening to it. It's on Deutsche Grammophon. This is the Japanese version. Why? Because I don't even think it was released in the United States. I mean, it's in Martha Argerich boxes and things like that, but it's so obnoxious of them. This should be one of those things that they're pushing constantly, and it's particularly important because Martha Argerich, which is the reason most people would get this, is, you know, remaking things over and over and over and over, and there's live stuff coming out galore, and, you know, it doesn't even matter if she were to be no longer with us. Stuff would still be coming out galore from radio archives and orchestra archives. It's insane. It's just nuts. And this is the great stuff. And we have to be able to distinguish. And yes, so even while I'm listening to this for my pleasure, my critical faculties are humming along. And wow, this is powerful. I mean, the playing is astonishing. The works are masterpieces. The arrangements of the two Ravel pieces, they go so well. It works fabulously. They're so much fun to hear in these versions. They really are. They're very sensitively done, and they're just played like firecrackers. I mean, so there's absolutely nothing not to love. But I do have a story about this. I do. One of the things about the Bartók Sonata for two pianos and percussion is that the percussion parts, as recorded on most performances, are usually not all that clear. You know, you've got a snare drum with snares and one without snares, and you've got timpani and bass drum, triangle hit with a variety of sticks, a normal beater, a wooden beater, and all this other stuff, and also a tam-tam. The tam-tam is always problematic because you've got the low notes of the piano, you know, boom, down there, and you want to hear the percussion, and you so seldom do. Well, this is one of those performances where you really hear all the percussion parts with crystalline clarity. And the tam-tam in particular is an interesting tam-tam. It's not your usual like low Wuhan or Paista type thing. And I knew that. I could tell from the sound it isn't. So I had a conversation with the late Peter Sadlo, who is the nicest guy in the world. He really is. Or was, pardon me. I mean, he died very young. He was sick, and it was terribly sad. He was a great musician. In fact, I was once invited to a recital, a solo percussion recital, which is kind of an interesting thing, that he gave at the MEDEM conference where I was doing the Cannes Classical Awards. And I think I've told this story, but it's I haven't quite gotten into the details. You know, I was supposed to show up at all of these things because they featured artists who were invited to meet him, and I was the president of the Cannes Classical Awards and the head of the jury, and, you know, so I was supposed to show face at these things, but they were normally held at noon, which was 6 a.m. my time, and the jet lag was just kicking in, and I was exhausted and ready to die and pass out. And so I'm sitting in the front row of the Peter Sadlo recital, and thank God I already knew him, and he knew what my situation was, and I was asleep. Sound asleep, and he is banging and smashing and crashing like crazy with insane virtuosity, and I slept through the whole thing. So then I woke up at the end of it, and I went over to him and I said, "Listen, I just heard your recording of this, and what year was this recorded? 93. I said, I have this recording. It's stupendous, but what tam-tam did you use?" I said, "I really want to know, what was the instrument, because it's different from all the others." He said, "Oh, it's just a Wuhan." I said, "No, it's not just a Wuhan. It was something else." And he didn't even remember. he didn't remember. I was like, oh, tell me, I want one. I want one that does that. I actually have a couple that make similar sounds. So yeah, okay. It wasn't a total loss. But that was really, really fun. So while most people would probably get this as a memento of two great, great pianists, I mean, Martha Argerich is still with us, of course, and Nelson Freire, who is no longer with us, I have it as in memory of Peter Sadlo. Just an extraordinary musician, and out of guilt because I slept through his recital. And it's like, oh, what can I do? But for me, this is just one of the most joyous, fabulous recordings that's out there. Music that is constantly fascinating. And, you know, for the Bartók, of course, and for the Ravel stuff you thought you knew, but you can hear it in a totally fresh and exciting and different way. And that's what gives it that special quality for me. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks so much for joining me. Take care.